What if I told you that living to 100 years old and actually enjoying it might have less to do with what you do and everything to do with what you stop doing? You see, longevity experts have discovered something surprising. There are 5 everyday habits that could be quietly shaving years off your life. And here's the tricky part. You might be doing them right now, without even realizing it. When I first learned about these, I thought, no way, these seem so harmless. But then I dug deeper. And honestly, number 5 shook me to my core. I think it's going to stir up some debate in the comments, and I want to hear your take on it. So, whether you're in your 60s, 70s, or even your 90s, this is for you. Because this isn't about just adding years to your life. It's about adding life to your years. And that, my friend, starts right now. Welcome to Senior Strong Living, where we share science-backed tips, inspiring stories, and practical advice to help you live your healthiest, happiest years. Over the years, I've spoken to doctors, caregivers, and some truly remarkable people who've lived into their 90s and beyond. And you know what's interesting? They're not all marathon runners. They don't all eat the same diet. Some still enjoy a slice of cake now and then. But every single one of them protects their time, their energy, and their health like it's the most valuable treasure they own. It's not about chasing perfection. It's about making choices, small, intentional choices, that keep you living on your own terms for as long as possible. I've heard stories from men and women who've outlived their closest friends, and while that can be bittersweet, they'll tell you there's a deep joy in still being able to do the things you love, even if it's just tending a garden, taking a morning walk, or having a laugh with a friend over tea. But here's what might surprise you. The real secrets to a long, vibrant life aren't always the flashy headlines you see on TV or online. They're often quiet, almost invisible habits, the kind you barely notice, but that slowly shape the way you age. And sometimes, it's not about adding more to your life. It's about letting go of what's quietly holding you back. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. That cozy chair you love? The one by the window, with the perfect view of the garden? It can also be your worst enemy. I know it feels like a safe place, your spot for morning coffee, the news, maybe a good book. But here's the thing. When you spend long stretches of your day in that same chair, your body starts to pay a quiet price. It doesn't matter if you walked yesterday, or even if you have a little exercise routine in the morning. If the rest of your day is spent sitting, much of that benefit can slowly disappear. Think about it. When you're still for hours, your circulation slows down, especially in your legs. That's why your ankles might swell a bit in the evening, or your knees feel stiff when you finally stand up. Over time, your muscles, especially the ones in your core and lower body, begin to weaken. And when those muscles weaken, so does your balance. That's when climbing stairs starts to feel harder, or you find yourself reaching for furniture when you walk across the room. And this isn't just about strength. The longer you stay in one position, the slower your metabolism becomes. Your body gets less efficient at breaking down fats and regulating blood sugar, which raises the risk of heart disease and type 2 diabetes. Even something as simple as your ability to recover from a minor illness can be affected, because your body is built to move, not just in bursts of exercise, but throughout the day. I've seen this firsthand. Edna, an 84-year-old I met through a senior walking group, used to spend most of her afternoons in her favorite chair by the fireplace. She'd read, knit, or watch TV, and she didn't think much of it. But her legs began to feel heavy, and she noticed she was getting tired more easily. She thought it was just part of getting older. One day, her granddaughter gave her a little challenge, to stand up every 30 minutes, even if it was just to walk to the kitchen and back. At first, Edna laughed it off. But she tried it. After just a couple of weeks, she told me she felt lighter, like her body was waking up again. She still enjoyed her afternoons, but now she sprinkled in small movements, stretching her arms, marching in place while waiting for the kettle to boil, doing a few ankle circles while sitting. Nothing intense. Just little reminders to her body that she was still in the game. And that's the secret. You don't have to give up comfort to stay strong. You just have to break it up. Stand every 30 to 45 minutes. Stretch your arms. Roll your shoulders. Take a slow walk around the house or garden. These tiny moments of movement keep your muscles engaged, your blood flowing, and your balance sharp. So, here's what I want to know. Do you think our love for technology has made sitting too tempting? Or is this just part of getting older? I'd love to hear your thoughts. We've all had those late-night snacks or big dinners. But after 70, they hit differently. You might think, I've been eating late for years, what's the harm? The truth is, your body changes with age, digestion slows, and your stomach takes longer to process food. That heavy plate at 9 p.m.? It means your body is working overtime when it should be resting and repairing. And it's not just digestion. Eating late can bring on acid reflux, that uncomfortable burning in your chest, or leave you tossing and turning when you should be deep in sleep. And here's the tricky part. When your sleep suffers, your energy dips, your mood changes, and even your immune system takes a hit. There's also the extra weight that can quietly creep in. Late-night calories, especially when you're not moving much afterward, are more likely to be stored as fat. And even a few extra pounds can make a big difference when it comes to your joints, your heart, and your mobility. Scientists call it a disruption to your circadian rhythm. That's your body's internal clock. Throwing it off can affect everything from your digestion to your hormone balance. In the long run, it's a recipe for feeling sluggish and unwell. The fix? Keep your main meal earlier in the day. If you get hungry later, choose something light, a piece of fruit, a small handful of nuts, maybe a warm cup of herbal tea. These won't weigh you down or disturb your rest. I remember George, a 76-year-old who swore he had insomnia. He tried everything, reading before bed, cutting out caffeine, nothing worked. Then he realized he was eating full dinners at 9 p.m. every night. Within a week of moving his mealtime earlier, he was sleeping through the night for the first time in years. It makes me wonder. Some cultures eat late into the night and still live long, healthy lives. Why do you think that is? Now, let's talk about something that doesn't sit in your stomach, but it can weigh even heavier: regret. Regret is like carrying a heavy suitcase, and the older you get, the heavier it feels. You look back and think, if only I'd done this, or I should have done that. Those thoughts can circle in your mind, stealing the joy from the present. And it's not just emotional. Holding on to regret fuels stress, and long-term stress can raise your blood pressure, weaken your immune system, and even shorten your lifespan. Scientists know it's linked to higher cortisol, the stress hormone, which, over time, can wear your body down from the inside out. So, what's the alternative? Reframe the story. See past mistakes as lessons. Practice gratitude for what you've learned, even if the path was messy. Robert, 78, once told me, if I'd done everything right, I would have missed half the lessons that made me who I am. He stopped punishing himself for what he couldn't change and started focusing on what he could do today. I wonder, do you think letting go of regret is a simple choice we can make in a moment, or does it take something deeper? That brings me to the next habit, one that looks harmless but can drain you more than you realize: overcommitting your time. Saying yes to everyone often means saying no to yourself. You think you're being helpful, but before you know it, your days are packed with things you don't actually enjoy. The volunteer work you once loved feels like an obligation. The social gatherings you agreed to leave you tired instead of energized. Over time, that constant busyness wears you down. It's not just about being tired. Stress like that weakens your immune system, disturbs your sleep, and even dulls your mood. The truth? No, is a complete sentence. You don't owe anyone an apology for protecting your time. When you start saying no to the things that drain you, you create space for what truly nourishes you. Helen, 82, was known as the go-to person for everything: church events, neighborhood projects, family errands. She never stopped. But she also never rested. When she finally started saying no, something remarkable happened. She got her energy back. She spent her mornings gardening, her afternoons reading, and she still helped others, but on her own terms. So I have to ask, is saying no selfish, or is it an act of self-care? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Your friend walks 3 miles every morning. You barely manage one. So what? It's so easy to look at someone else's health and start feeling like you're falling behind. Maybe your neighbor still does yard work all day, or your cousin plays tennis twice a week. You start thinking, why can't I do that anymore? And without even realizing it, you shift your focus away from the progress you've made to the things you think you've lost. But here's the problem. When you constantly measure yourself against someone else, you're using the wrong ruler. Everyone's body tells a different story. Genetics, life experiences, old injuries, even sheer luck, all of these shape how we age. And when you compare your health to someone else's, you're ignoring your own victories. On a deeper level, that habit fuels stress. And mental stress doesn't just cloud your mood, it weakens your immune system and saps your motivation. Instead of celebrating the walk you did take, or the meal you cooked from scratch, you're stuck thinking about what you couldn't do. Over time, that mindset can make you less active, less joyful, and less willing to keep trying. So, what's the better path? Track your own wins. Keep a small notebook or calendar and jot down the things you did that made you feel good. The stairs you climbed without stopping, the stretches you did before bed, the days you woke up without stiffness. These may feel small, but they are powerful markers of progress. I think of Eleanor, 82. For years, she compared herself to her younger sister, who still played tennis. Eleanor felt like she was failing somehow because she needed a cane for longer walks. But one day, she started keeping a daily log of what she could do: short walks in the garden, healthy meals, visits with friends. She began to see just how rich and active her life really was. And slowly, she stopped chasing someone else's pace and started celebrating her own. Which makes me wonder, do you think comparing yourself is ever healthy? Or should we avoid it completely? Let's take a moment to look back at what we've covered today. We talked about the habits that can quietly chip away at your years and your joy. Sitting for too long without moving. How even small breaks in the day can protect your muscles and your balance. Eating heavy meals late at night. And how shifting them earlier can help your digestion, your sleep, and your energy. Holding on to past regrets, and the power of letting them go to free your mind and body. Overcommitting your time. Learning to say no so you can say yes to the things that truly matter. And finally, comparing your health to others, focusing instead on your own milestones, no matter how small. None of these changes require a complete overhaul of your life. They're small steps, done consistently, that add up over time. Think of your life like a garden. You don't fix it all in one afternoon. You tend to it, one weed pulled here, one seed planted there. Over weeks, months, years. That garden grows stronger, healthier, more vibrant. And so do you. Because the truth is, it's not perfection that matters, it's progress. The goal isn't to live forever. It's to live well. To protect your health, your time, and your joy. I've met people in their 80s and 90s who still wake up curious about the day ahead, grateful for the life they've lived, eager for what's next. That, more than anything, is what makes the difference. You can choose that mindset today. Start where you are. Use what you have. And take one small step toward the life you want to live, for as long as you're here. If something in this video spoke to you, if it made you stop and think about the way you live your days, share it with someone you love. Because sometimes, one small piece of advice is all it takes to change a life for the better. Your support helps Senior Strong Living keep bringing you the very best tips, the most uplifting stories, and the most practical guidance to help you live your golden years to the fullest. So if you haven't already, tap that like button. It lets us know these conversations matter. Hit subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss a chance to learn something that could make tomorrow a little brighter, a little healthier, a little stronger. And I'd love to hear from you. Which of these habits are you going to cut back on first? Leave your answer in the comments below, because your story might be the encouragement someone else needs today. And don't stop here. Watch our next video, where I'll share something most longevity experts never say publicly, but it might just be the key to not only living longer, but living better.